The first thing you notice is the smell. Burnt rubber, sour rot, the stench of a dead city baking under a sun that feels too close. You're standing beside an empty car with the fuel gauge mocking you, and reality hits like a punch. Without fuel, you're stuck. Without movement, you're prey. You grab the doorframe to steady yourself, dizzy from hunger, heat, and the kind of fear that creeps into your bones. I tell you to stop staring at the useless dashboard and start paying attention to what's around you. Because in a collapsed world, fuel isn't something you find, it's something you make. A shout echoes from the next street, someone fighting over a siphon hose. You duck fast, and good thing too. Desperate people treat gasoline like gold, and gold gets you killed. Trash doesn't. That's why we start there. You follow me to a pile of junk behind an abandoned mechanic shop. Metal scraps, rotting wood, a cracked plastic bin, a heap of old food containers buzzing with flies. You wrinkle your nose, and I remind you that comfort died weeks ago. What's left is creativity and the kind of science teachers begged you to take seriously. You mutter that you should have subscribed to more survival channels before the world turned into a chemistry exam with consequences. I smirk. At least you know now. You pick up a stock of greasy plastic bottles, misshapen from heat. Perfect. Plastic is just fossil fuel pretending to be garbage. Heat it in a sealed container, force it to break down, and it cries out its origins in liquid form. Usable, burnable, life-saving. You rig the crocked bin into a crude retort, sealing it with mud and metal clamps scavenged from a rusted toolbox. A stovepipe leads to an old can submerged in cold water. It looks like a nightmare, but nightmares work when you're desperate enough. You light the fire carefully, breath held, pulse hammering. The plastic melts, bubbles, then releases a thin stream of vapor that condenses into oily droplets inside the cooled can. Raw fuel, ugly, dirty, potent. You pour a little into a lid and test it with a spark. It ignites instantly, blue and hungry. Your eyes widen with the kind of hope people forget how to feel. But you're not done. You sift through another pile of trash until you find rotting food scraps, moldy bread, spoiled fruit, rancid grease. It makes your stomach twist, but bacteria love it. Let them eat it in an airtight jug. Let them ferment it into methane, and suddenly your trash becomes firepower.
You seal the jug, set it in the sun, attach a scavenged hose, and hours later you hear it. Pressure building, a soft hiss of gas escaping. You trap it in another container and test it with your shaky hands. It burns. Not pretty, not clean, but real. The final step is the one most people overlook. Old motor oil. Thick, black, useless. Unless you filter it through cloth, sand, and desperation. Drip by drip, the sludge becomes something an engine can stomach. Not well, but well enough. You stare at the jars of improvised fuel, plastic oil, methane, reclaimed lubricant, like you've just conjured life from ruin. You kind of have. Movement is life. Engines are escape. And trash is the last resource no one fights over. You tighten the lid, wipe the sweat from your face, and look at the dead city around you with new eyes. Let everyone else fight over the last drops of gasoline. You'll be long gone by the time they realize you turned their garbage into salvation.